Hi, I'm Jagmohan Chawla,
And I'm Moritz Gysler.
and we both are product managers with SAP Cloud ALM. So, Moritz, yesterday you were telling me a lot about features. Can we go into a little bit of details? I don't understand. What is a feature?
So a feature in general is kind of a change document for you. So you can add your changes that you are doing to production systems, to production stages, to features. And at the end, the feature keeps the information about your transport tracks, knows where the changes need to go and need to flow through your landscape. And then at the end, you can use as well the feature to deploy your changes from your development stage throughout to your production stage. That's the idea behind. And the feature can as well keep changes or objects of different SAP solutions.
Oh, interesting. And but do you create this feature from like thin air, or do you create it from a reference to anything?
So there are several options available. So you could, on the one hand, create it from a requirement so that you have always a requirement as a starting point, and then you create your features coming out of it for the implementation later on. Or you say you create them more or less from thin air, and then you can later on as well relate them to requirements if you want to, or you can use it as the fastest way to production, just use it kind of standalone.
Okay, then I think I'll better understand if you show it to me in the system.
Of course. So I will share my screen. All right. Okay, so here I'm in my project context with a scope here that is available as well, where I have already a demo feature created. And what we can see here in the features overview are the most important information about the features, in a sense, what's the status. You can have here a priority. Very important as well, the release. So that's how you could at the end as well bundle several features together. If you say you would like to have kind of a release deployment or a release import at the end of your release. Yeah, and in addition, you have as well the work streams that we know, and you can now as well assign tags to just categorize easily as well your features so that you can easily find it later on if you want to look into features that are tagged with some particular keyword.
So tags are coming from SAP, or I can create any tag that I want.
You can create any tag that you want. So it can be created in different applications of SAP Cloud ALM, and you can reuse them there.
Oh, perfect.
All right, so then let's jump into the feature. So first of all, we see we are still in the specification status, but if you would like to start the implementation, and I would be in my role as a change manager, I would always have to monitor and track the features in that sense. And I would kind of start the implementation so that transports can be assigned as well to the features so that your changes can be documented within the feature. And now we saw status changed here via the action button that we used. And when you now jump to the edit mode, it is possible there to go to the essence, I would say, of the feature, and that would be the transport section here. And there you see you have the assign button where you can then easily assign transport requests. Modifiable one, but as well released ones can be assigned. That's very important to understand. So you can suit it or you can put it to your needs in the end for your process. And I will select now this one modifiable here and will assign it to the feature. And then you can save it, and then you have already stored these changed objects that are available within this transport then to your feature here.
Okay. Does somebody need to approve or something? What happens to this transport now?
So at the end, the transport is now still in the modifiable state. That would mean you have the option to say, on the one hand, the developers in the managed system, so in the backend system, can directly release their transport requests like known in the on-premise world or in the ABAP NetWeaver world, or you can as well say, I would just like to have the developers to release their transport tasks. And then you have as well a handle here within Cloud ALM to release the transport request directly from here so that you have it organized and centralized within Cloud ALM.
Oh, I can release it from SAP Cloud ALM. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And for this transport request, we really said, okay, developer has already released the transport task there. And now I could, as a change manager, release it from here. And you get to know that all the transports that are assigned to one feature, because you drive the feature in a whole, will be released then. So it would mean if you have several transports assigned here, then you would release all of them. And now release is scheduled.
Okay. And can I know who did what? I mean, who clicked this action? Is it logged somewhere?
Of course, this is logged as well. So we have here this little clock symbol here on top right, and there you have your history. So there you would see at the end who was the one who did then the different activities or the different actions. So we can see here that Gata Bauer here, for example, that's my name here in the as a user in the system. I have released the transport request.
Oh, perfect.
In the meantime, we can see already when we come back, now the transport is as well released. So that's what we wanted to achieve. And now maybe just to show you one thing, what's possible now, because we want to, of course, hand it over to the test stage, right? So we have a 3-tier landscape here coming from client 801 to 802 and 803. 802 would be here our test client. And you could then go ahead from here as a change manager and say, okay, I would like to deploy now as well directly from within Cloud ALM the feature to the next stage. And when you hit the deploy button, you would get all the transports that are assigned to the feature deployed to the next stage, because as mentioned, you always drive the feature in a whole to the next stages.
Okay. Okay, so now it's sent to the next environment from 801 to 802. Okay.
Correct. Deployment is now scheduled then for the next stage, and now Badger Job will take over then the import in the managed system.
Okay, and what is this action handover to test? When is this used?
That's the idea at the moment. So it's decoupled, I would say, at the moment from the deployment. So that would mean when you've done the deployment and your deployment is finished in the test stage, then you can hand over the feature to the test stage via handover to test, so to the in testing status, to indicate that now the features can be tested properly.
Okay. Interesting.
And maybe that's as well a good segue to go then as well into the feature traceability.
Okay, so that's some kind of report or something?
Yeah, of course. There you can find in the end all the information about the features, what are the relations to features, and newly we have now as well available since yesterday the deployment status in the feature traceability. So you would see as well, where are my transports at the moment, at which stage do my transports are my transports located in that sense, so that you easily figure out, okay, where are we in the process. All right, but first of all, I would do here the refresh just to show you that the deployment really finished. So you can see here, this transport now for the feature was deployed to the next stage, to our 802 tenant. And now we can as well check it into traceability. So you have on the left-hand side, you have the navigation options to go to the analytics. And from here, you have the feature traceability report. Now, when we go into the feature traceability, project scope are taken over. We can see here, that's our demo feature. We know the status, it's in implementation. And here we have this deployment status. And the nice thing about it is you have here the option to as well filter for it. So if you would like to see, okay, from deployment perspective, is everything done in quality assurance? You can just filter for it. You would get as well this as a result, because here we are all done in the test stage. You can as well click on it. You see that's quality assurance. We see the same information like we see in the feature itself, that it was deployed to 802 now.
Okay, what is this transport details?
Transport details at the end takes you then back to the feature, where you get then further information around the transports within the feature.
Oh, okay.
So we can do this right now, because now we can see here that's still an implementation, but at the end it is ready for testing. So that was the question you asked beforehand, Jack.
Yes.
So when we now go into the transport details, we jump over to the feature itself.
Okay.
We see here the information. And now we can do the handover to test to indicate that the feature is ready for testing. So that would be as well then the switch to the status in testing via the action button. Your feature is now in testing status. And now we are kind of back on track to have as well the feature status coupled to the deployment status, where the transports are located at the moment.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, that means feature is like a book of record that keeps a nice audit trail, your record of transports, but it also is a pretty active entity that you can, let's say, release transports from here and then view them in this nice report that you just showed. So,
Absolutely right. So that's the idea behind that you have in the end a real change tracking with the history, but as well then on top with the traceability, you get some further information and you get it at one glance. And yeah, the actionable options that you have there available for the features like releasing and deploying the changes throughout your landscape should at the end help you and ease your way of working during your daily tasks.
okay, this was really, really helpful, Moritz. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. It was a pleasure.
Okay, then have a great day.
You too, Jack. Thanks a lot.